Hello, welcome to Biography TV. If you are new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. Biography of Ahmed Sékou Touré. Ahmed Sékou Touré was one of the Guinean foremost nationalists who fought for the country's independence from France. He became the President of Guinea in 1958 and died in office in 1984. 2 years after independence, Touré made his party, Parti Démocratique de Guinée, translated as Democratic Party of Guinea, PDG, the only legal party in the country, and ruled from then on as a dictator. Elections were conducted without any opposition, where Touré won unopposed 4 terms of 7 years each. Under his rule, he was alleged to have exiled or imprisoned those who criticized his government, killing about 50,000 people under his regime, going by the mass graves found in 2002. Born on January 9, 1922, in a village called Farana into a Muslim background in the then French colony, Sékou Touré was one of 7 children of Alpha and Aminata Touré, who were farmers. His great-grandfather was Samori Touré, a great warlord and emperor of Wosolu Empire, whose territory covered Guinea and Mali and reigned till he was defeated by the French colonialists in 1898. Touré started his primary education at a Quranic school in his hometown and moved to a French lower primary school in Cancan. In 1936, he joined the Georges Poirez Technical College, where he led a student protest at the age of 15 because of the quality of food in the school and was expelled. Being out of school, Touré then joined the labor union and began studying the works of Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin, and others. In 1940, Touré got a job as a clerk in the Compagnie du Niger Français and also registered for an examination that would enable him to join the Post, Telegraph and Telecommunication Services (PTT). After passing the course, he was employed at the PTT as a postal clerk in Conakry in 1941. That same period, Touré started networking with the French General Confederation of Labour, the French Labour Union. Some quarters believe that it was during his time at the PTT that Touré first became politically active. He formed the Post and Telecommunications Workers' Union (SPTT) in 1945, the first of its kind in French Guinea. In 1946, he became its General Secretary. It was that same year that he and some people formed the African Democratic Rally, an alliance of political parties which had affiliates in other French colonies across Africa. Parti Démocratique de Guinée (PDG) was formed as a section of the African Democratic Rally with the aim of decolonizing Africa, and in 1952, Touré was elected its Secretary General after their alliance with labor unions. In 1953, he achieved his greatest feat as a labor leader when he led the longest worker strike in the then French West Africa to implement the new overseas labor code. The strike was 71 days long. That got him elected into the French Communist Party's Confédération Générale du Travail, meaning the General Confederation of Labour (CGT), as one of the 3 secretaries general in 1954. In 1956, Touré became mayor of Conakry and Guinea's deputy to the French National Assembly. He used his positions to criticize the colonial government negotiating for the independence of French African colonies. In 1958, there was a referendum sponsored by the French government where the people of Guinea were to vote either to remain a colony and continue to enjoy the economic and financial aid provided by the French as well as their technical and administrative officers, or become an independent nation and lose those benefits. The PDG, led by Touré, mobilized the people to vote no. At the referendum, the people voted no to the policies put forward by the French government, leading to the independence of Guinea on October 2, 1958, and Touré became president. Upon becoming president, Touré in 1960 declared the PDG the only legal party, although there was no other party than PDG before that time. He began his first 7-year term in 1961 and ruled for 24 years, winning the elections conducted in 1968, 1974, and 1982 unopposed. In his terms as president, his policies were strongly geared towards Marxism, with centralized economic and political plans and the nationalization of foreign companies that made him win Lenin Peace Prize in 1961. But in 1978, he renounced Marxism, pitching his tent with the West. Most of his economic programs were criticized, as well as his failure to install democracy. That led to his famous statement that Guinea prefers poverty in freedom to riches in slavery. Touré believed the only way to pay back the colonial powers was to cut off ties with them. That made him cut his country's ties with France between 1965 and 1975, but maintained relations with other socialist states. The then French president, Valéry Giscard, had to visit Guinea to reconcile with them in the first ever state visit by a French president. His main allies were Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana and Modibo Keïta of Mali, and when Kwame Nkrumah's government was overthrown, Touré granted him asylum in 1966, honoring him with the title of co-president. He died of heart attack on March 26, 1984 in a clinic in Cleveland, Ohio, and Prime Minister Louis Nassana Bivugui replaced him in acting capacity. But while preparing for the election, the military took over in a coup led by Colonel Nassana Conte. Touré was a Pan-Africanist leader and spoke against colonialism. He was in friendship with American activists like Malcolm X and Stokely Carmichael. He married Andre Touré and they have 2 children. What's your take on Touré as a Guinean politician? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share and subscribe to our channel.